what is the latest with you?
The latest with me, oh man, it's been a while since we talked. So
yeah,
managing a different office now. Got about 145 agents, so challenging there, which is a good challenge.
Okay.
My favorite part of that is coaching and mentoring and solving problems. It's kind of what I do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's that look like inside of the context of? I know we've spent a lot of Band of Brothers time together, but what's that look like in the context of multiple people? All those agents, and how's that look?
I certainly I found my stream. So I have a personal coach.
Okay.
And he says that my specialty in coaching is interpersonal relationships. So it's all about culture, morale, one-on-one, creating a space for, we could talk more about that, but just creating a culture of collaboration, openness, just being real. I learned a lot with the Band of Brothers stuff on how to do that. And, again, it's all about creating space, man. You and I, we spent some time being vulnerable, right? We were in a container. Brother, my container follows me. Like anything you say to me, it's in container, unless we decide that we need to talk to someone else. So I'll stay as surface as you want and go as deep as you need. And I say it that way for a reason. As surface as you want, but if you need to go deeper, I'll see that. God has given me the gift of discernment in that area. It's like, okay, I know this has to go a little deeper. I'm just called. I'm called to do that. So, and as I get older, I have more confidence. Confidence comes from making mistakes, though, right?
Seriously.
Confidence, the emotion comes from victories, right? But the true confidence, when you walk down the hallway or out in the lobby or wherever, that true confidence comes from all the mistakes that you've made that you've learned from.
Yeah.
And, man, I've made a few.
Yeah. I guess it's like it's the process now of at halftime, midlife, where if you hadn't make any mistakes, you really haven't learned how to work through life or live in life, and that the ability to fail forward,
man, I wish
or learning how to fail forward. Oh, we lost you there, Mike.
Yeah, I'm here.
Internet's down, choppy.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, you're pretty choppy here. You're on you got good internet?
Yeah, it's usually pretty good.
Okay, no worries.
Could be just a fluke.
Okay, but anyway, like I was saying, it's a process of learning to fail forward and keep moving on to get to halftime and look back and understanding the consequences, and also acknowledging the consequences of the things that we've done too. What's that looking like for you? I mean, talk about that a little bit with you. What is halftime looking for you? You're trained professionally as a realtor and running big realty agencies in California, and it is very, very fluid, dynamic, always something happening in that space, right? What does it look now at halftime, been in that world for 20 years? What's that look for you professionally?
Everything that you said to describe it is what drives me. I love that stuff.
Okay.
The challenge for me is all about me, right? So I have a tendency to beat myself up, right? I think a lot of people do. Where, I was thinking about this just recently. It's crazy we're talking about this now. But I was like, something came in my head and says, Mike, why do you treat yourself worse than you would treat anybody else? When I make a mistake, man, I'm hard on myself. And that can either drive you or it could shut you down. For a long time, it shut me down. And that's, I mean, we can get more into that. But,
yeah, definitely. What unpack that just a little bit? That I think we're onto something.
So I've had times in my life where I've been depressed. I'm not going to say I suffer from depression or any of that, because it's really helped me grow, actually, as much as I dislike it. So in 2022, it was different. It was a long, steady drip, drip, drip of depression. Like I just could not shake it. And what happened with me is I'd isolate. And the more I isolate, so it's like you build a wall, but then you build another layer of wall, and then another, and then another, and until it suffocates you. I decided that, well, by watching my family, watching how they reacted, I decided I have to do something. Not for me, because remember, I beat myself up. I'm a piece of crap. But for them, I got to do my best. So I started reaching out to people. I got a counselor, got my coach, I got some close friends. I just started reaching out to figure out some things. One of the things that I recognized, or that I was told, my counselor, she was a retired Army, about 10 years older than me. She was about to retire from being a counselor. And she goes, Michael? And I was like, oh, shoot, here we go, right? So anybody that can hold you accountable like that, you're like, okay, I'm not going to like this, but she's probably going to be right, so just be open, right? She goes, you used to work out. You were athletic when you were younger, right? I go, yeah. She goes, go to the gym. And it wasn't like a command, but it wasn't negotiable either. So the very next day I went, and I've been going ever since. That's not the magic pill, but it certainly took me down a different path. It shook my system and allowed me to have some goals outside of the goals that I wasn't meeting. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So and there's a lot of other things. Speaking of reaching out, it's like reaching out to my brothers, and through them understanding my relationship with Christ too, and what it should look like for me, right? I've always believed that the Bible, and you can get as deep as you want with this, but I always believed that the Bible was written for me. It's written for us. So, okay, here's a gift, and I put it on the shelf, right? Here's a gift, and I just let it go. So I got back into the Word and hanging out with my brothers and just being around people that I can trust, that I can just accountability. I mean, as much as we hate accountability, without it.
I want to go back just a second, which I thought was really vulnerable, but also very honest, in the sense of just authentic. Mike, you mentioned that you would just start putting up one layer and another layer and another layer. To the degree that you're comfortable, can you unpack that a little bit? And the reason why I'm asking is that, just for our listening audience, it's June, and this month is Men's Health Awareness Month. And it's just not only physical, but also your mindset. And I feel that as we go into this month, but over just the last few years, it's been much more prevalent that men need their space to work out their mental health. And part of this channel in this forum, Mike, as you know, is that, we've built, as men, we're out to go hunt and to bring home and to focus, to build businesses, to climb corporate ladders, which are all unbelievably admirable. There's nothing wrong with that. Success and the fruits of your labor and so forth. But I am constantly running into and talking to old friends and new friends who I befriend, and they find out they've done these things, but they look around and they don't have any friends. They do not have that space that you were just discussing to share, to do battle with, if you will, but a place just to be able to clear their mind mentally, the things that men wrestle with. And it sounded like there's some of that where you're putting up barriers. Don't worry about me, I'm good. And another layer. Is that what you're sensing? Or unpack that? I think it's just really key things. Like halftime, we go through that. We've built up so much crap to get to our age where we are now. It's like, oh, I gotta fix this stuff.
Well, so there's the point right there.
Yeah.
There's a saying, I think it comes from 12-step programs, is being sick and tired of being sick and tired. Right? Yeah. And until you get to that point, change is not guaranteed. And even at that point, you have two choices. And I'm going to be blunt. Can I be very honest?
Yeah.
Milliseconds from ending it all. I've been there. I've been there. And just an FYI, it was about 3 days before I met you. Right? So
20 years ago.
The come to Jesus moment was literally a millisecond. Right? So, yeah, that was, and I had a decision to make. And luckily, I had help in making that decision in the right direction. But here's the thing, Bob, man. Once you make that decision to do the right thing, whether you get to that point or not, anytime you decide to do something, that's it. The conversation's over. Like that conversation in our head, I call it the one decision, right? So you make one decision. Let's say my decision was, I'm going to work on my health. Mm-hmm. Right? Every other decision that I make falls in line with that. Are there setbacks? Yeah. I mean, there's injuries, there's weather, there's all these things, but there's no excuses. Excuses. Jocko Willink says they get no say. They have no, and I say they have no power. Mm-hmm. I choose the power that they have. Mm-hmm. So, am I perfect at it? No. But I recognize the spiral, right? Mm-hmm. I recognize the bricks going up in the wall. Mm-hmm. Chunk. Mm-hmm. Chunk.
Yeah.
And I would have to say that I became a very good bricklayer. I don't think I could make a living at it, but man, I was like stacking bricks, baby. Just stacking bricks. Right?
Right, yeah.
And in order to bust through that wall, I'm going to keep that on that analogy. In order to bust through that wall, it takes all-in effort. And here's what went through my mind, and I apologize for those, because I'm going to cuss here, but here's literally what, I'm fucking done with this shit. Like, I am, and I kept saying that, I'm fucking done with it. I'm done with it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to live like this. My family deserves better. My friends deserve better. And as I continued down that path, I realized that I deserve better. So
that makes sense.
Just fucking do it, man. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, what does halftime look like to you right now? Halftime is, you start your halftime journey at 40. and then you're well on your ways in your 50s, and so it's like halftime is in your 40s to 60, 50, 60, given life expectancies and all that kind of good stuff. But the second half, what's the second half looking for you right now, and how does that translate into those lessons learned? Being sick and tired of being sick and tired, but how are things in now your daily life? Two beautiful young ladies and a lovely family, your wife, and all things seem to be firing on the surface. But what does it look like now at halftime, where you're moving forward now?
Well, I'm learning still. That's another thing, growth, right? But I'm learning how to overcome the things that have held me back. Mm-hmm. So I'm the guy that starts projects and doesn't finish, right? But I'm also the guy that can wing it, right? I can wing anything, and that's a gift, but it's also a burden, right? Because that's the one that it's not a discipline thing, right? So discipline has been the biggest challenge, and I've spent all of 2023 talking to myself about discipline, about listening to discipline. How do I do those things that I don't want to do? Whatever. And I'm kind of going a little bit off track a little bit, but the difference between motivation and drive, right? So I have drive. Whether I'm motivated or not, man, it's nice to be motivated, man. It's nice to yes, this is great. I love this. But I don't need it anymore. I don't need to be motivated.
What motivates you now that didn't motivate you earlier on in your life? How have your motivations changed? Or a motivation? What is the motivation that changes? Like an inspirational word, or is it something that motivates you much more deeply in the fiber of your soul that gets you to get up and put the feet on the ground and get going?
So this has always been the case with me, but I never had the courage to step into it. We're literally doing it right now. This is what I call high value conversations. I could go my whole life with nothing but high value conversations, and man, I'd be so jazzed. When I leave this, look out, I'm going out in the world just pumped, just ready to freaking kill it, just go. How many people can I help today with this energy, right? How many people can I help? Mm-hmm. And because of people like you and other people that I surround myself with, that I have these great high value conversations, they're absolutely critical. And sure, yeah, some of them we joke around and that builds camaraderie, but there's value in that. We're not talking about how that person is ruining their life, or they shouldn't be doing that, or the economy is crap. Those statements happen, but they're in passing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just an observation rather than the whole conversation. I no longer have any desire to be in a conversation that doesn't move somebody forward. And maybe just cheers them up for the moment, right? So I've always had that desire to help as many people as I could. But I never lived it. I mean, I wouldn't say I never, but it was difficult to live because we're valued as men. We're valued by our bank account. We're valued by our skill set, right? We're valued by our gifts, as our talents, our sports talents. All these things we're valued at, our good looks, like you and I. Anyway, I had to throw that in there. But, we're valued by those things. But what about just the unseen, the creating the space, a person that people can talk to, that they can look up to, or if that's what they need, It's just
Yeah, you tap into something there. It's like one of the standard questions that I always ask on the show is that what would you want to share with your younger self right now?
I took a note on that one. I didn't have to, but I wrote it down just so I wouldn't.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear because you're talking about mentoring and sharing, right? And what would you tell your younger self, Mike?
I don't. I wrote it down so I would say it. Because if I didn't
Cheater!
write it down, I
Cheater!
wouldn't say it. 3 words.
Okay.
Stop fucking around. Just knock this shit off. Like, seriously.
Excuse me. That's what he's
Like,
like.
you're an idiot. You're smart. You've got some wisdom under your belt when you're like 25. You got a little bit going on, you know, and you have the energy.
Oh my God.
And you have the dreams.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're fucking around.
Oh, yeah.
You're out there drinking, going to parties, souping up your car, which by the way, I still would do
easy.
that now.
Go easy on that. Those
So
are fun
there's some
hobbies.
things.
Part of this is about adventures and hobbies.
Around.
You can have adventures and hobbies. So easy. Go
Yeah,
easy. You don't have to rough on the car, guys.
Stop it,
It's
right?
awesome.
Just go. Just, okay, this is what I want to do. You know, when you don't have, life keeps stacking stuff on top of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're good things, right? You got the career, you got the family, wife, kids, parents get older. All these things get stacked, and they're all like, if you really think about it, they're good things. But when you're 25 or 23 or whatever, you don't have those yet.
Right.
Some people do, but there's always exceptions. Stop fucking around. Go for it. What do you want your life to look like? And you know what? Here's the thing I realized is I lower my expectations. They're not listening because I wasn't listening, right? But if I could go back and say, Michael, cut the shit. Just stop fucking around. Just go.
That's interesting. It's like we go through all these different challenges, especially when we're younger. Like, let's just take dating, for instance, right? Thank God that's all over with. But like dating, and when you're younger and you find the girl, oh, she's the greatest, and then you get let down. She's not the greatest. She dumps you. Oh my gosh, my life is all over with, and it's full of challenges and nothing else. You know, your friends coming around you, suck it up, cupcake, let's go, and you know, try to, you know, you're doing what you think you know is best for them with that much knowledge going into a conversation. You know, that much experience of what people really need when they go through those dark moments that everybody has in their life. And I think it's the challenges, those moments in life and those challenges that make us who we are. And I think when we get to midlife, we've had enough rodeos in our life, right? The old adage, I've seen that rodeo. Oops, not my first one. You know, what challenges have you faced, Mike, now, or you're looking at midlife, and how would they be different? Like compare and contrast, like a challenge would have been for you at 30 versus now in your 50s. What's that look like, and how are you working through them? So it'd be like the type of thing, if you care to share, it'd be interesting to hear your different challenges. Everybody's got a different story, there's not one cookie cutter. This is not like everybody who's the lifestyles of the rich and famous and so on and so forth show. It's about like getting real, people with real stories. There are 800 million people on this planet, and everybody's got a different journey and different process.
Yeah, so the challenge that I faced was that up until like 35, 37, I'd been successful at everything I did. Now, what I did wasn't like I wasn't a CEO of a big company or whatever, but I'd always done well whatever position I was in, always. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I got boxes of awards. They're not hung up; they're boxes, right? Anyway, but and then I came into real estate, and the market tanked. Mm. Whose fault was that? Mm. Who do you think I thought was whose fault it was? Everything was on me. Everything was on me. Now, I didn't cause the market to crash. I caused my family to move from, I had a good job at Hewlett Packard, quit that job to do real estate. And then the market tanks. So the challenge that it took, it's still taking time to realize, is that I had to, the famous poet Eminem says, I had to go there to get to here.
The great philosopher.
The great philosopher.
Slim Shady.
But I had to go be there. I had to get there to get to here. I had to.
Yeah.
That's when I came to Christ.
Yeah.
And that changed everything. And then the next challenge changed everything, right? One of the things I was talking to my wife about this, Lucy, about today, and she says, well, just remember, one of the things that you have is persistence. And I said, I thought you called that stubbornness, but
ever since I've known you, that'll be a key attribute for you, for sure.
I am not going to give up.
Yeah, it's true.
And I want to encourage everybody, just don't give up. Just that's a non-negotiable, right? We all should have non-negotiables. Not giving up has got to be one of your non-negotiables.
Yeah.
I quit drinking 4.5 years ago.
Congrats, bravo.
For no other reason than I don't want to drink anymore.
Bravo.
I don't like who I am. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel in the morning. It was just too much. So it's a non-negotiable. I can go to a freaking frat party and not drink because it's not negotiable for me.
Right.
Not that I tried. I think I could.
How has your health, prioritizing your health and wellness changed, now at halftime? What's that look for you, as opposed to the frat and all the earlier days?
Maybe
well, you spent time, and thank you again for all of your service. We just passed a memory time of those that sacrificed their life Memorial Day, but you did serve. And you were a submariner. You're the submariner.
Yeah,
you're a submariner.
So,
on the boats under the ocean. So thanks for that. But how has health and wellness shifted for you?
So there's categories, right? And I mean, I'll just say the way I look at it. You have your logical, your mental. You have your finances. You have your physical being, and you have your spiritual.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
They're not categories. They're all the same.
Explain that.
There's no wall between them.
Well, okay. Got it.
There might be gray area, but they flow, right? So if your finances are crap, how's your spiritual being right now? Kind of stinks, right? So my mental state has been crap a few times in my life, and not making that connection to either spiritual or physical or both or all, or getting my finances straight, which is what was causing one of my major breakdowns. I didn't know I could reach out to that. Now I discovered through friends like you and Jonathan and Tim and those guys that spiritual connection, and how that drugged me. And I feel like it drugged me through it, because me, I'm a fighter. I just fight for the wrong side, right? I remember Chad told me that.
Yeah.
'Cause you're like Darth Vader. You're a great warrior, but you're just fighting for the wrong side.
Just for context for our listening audience and those of you on YouTube, Mike and I spent a number of years meeting every week as a Band of Brothers group, and really an unbelievable time of transparency, honesty, a brotherhood, of keeping things in the container and discussing things that just doesn't come up in normal day conversation on a golf course. And it was a very rich period of time for several years. And with the design, we sunset it. Our leader sunset it, that how long we were going to meet, number of years, and then close the book and then move on with to do life again. And so that's what Mike's referencing to. And I believe on the schedule, I have Jonathan Brink will be on the interview schedule in a couple weeks after this airs. And we'll talk about some of that band of brothers and finding a group of men that you can share life with. But
yeah, if you're watching this now,
Mike.
watch that.
Yeah.
Watch that. That's a good one. Jonathan is a very blessed and gifted person. So
yeah, it's going to be a good show, just like this one. So how your health and wellness, interconnectability. I interrupted there. I apologize.
I'm sorry. No, that's good. So in this case, remember I told you about my counselor saying physical, right? That physical pulled me out of depression. And it also, at the same time, it allowed me to analyze why I was depressed. And it turns out the cause actually is anxiety. And the cause of anxiety is lack of discipline. Mm-hmm. When you don't get stuff done, it would stay on my brain, and it'd be worry. Instead of a task, it turned to worry. Mm-hmm. So that's, and where I'm at now, my body has got so used to anxiety, and the anxiety comes from when I was a kid. I mean, it's just, I'm prone to that.
I see.
Doesn't mean it can't go away. I refuse to believe that I'm going to live with this any longer. Someday, tomorrow, today, it's going to completely go away. But I recognize it as something other than me, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like I have this anxiety. Do I give it power? That's another power thing, right? Mm-hmm. Do I? I have that choice. I found that if I tell somebody, hey, I'm not feeling great right now, I don't need them to fix me. I just need to hear it from my own mouth. Right. Kind of like the courage to say it, and then have somebody acknowledge. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not giving it any power.
So give some tips to somebody's like who's sick and tired of being sick and tired about their health and fitness, and you flip the switch, if you will. What's been your approach? What are you doing now? What's your health and wellness look like 7 days a week, or how are you approaching it?
So first step, decide to do something about it. Yeah. Second step, reach out to as many people as you can. Professionals, friends, pastor. I don't care as long as they're living a life that you want to lead, or at least in that arena, reach out. And then remember that decision you made, and remember it every day. Write it down. If you need to write it down, it should be a laminated card or 3x5 or a Post-it note that says what that one decision was. And it could be, you could just write down the word health, and it's mental. And for me, I also knew it was physical. I knew those were connected. It could be spiritual. Whatever that word means to you, or that phrase, whatever you need to do, that's something you do every day. You add to that vision of health. You add to that vision of mental health, spiritual, well-being, whatever, finances. Every day, you just add to that. Every decision is based on that.
What do you do every day? What do you do? You go to the gym and you do what? Or you go play soccer, or how do you do it? What do you do literally?
I get up. So I'm not as structured as a lot of people are. Okay. But I'll tell you. Monday I'm in the gym, 5:15. I get up at 4:30. I got 45 minutes to do whatever. I get like 3 cups of coffee because I might drink a little bit of coffee. I don't know. Might be a problem.
I love coffee.
Maybe check some emails, watch some stupid videos or whatever. Right now I'm into these street preachers. So I'm watching these street preachers, and it's kind of cool. Anyway, so I do that, and then I go to the gym, 45 minutes in the gym minimum. Now, I don't want to spend more time because what that gives me more time to do more socializing and not enough workout. So I'm pretty serious when I get to the gym. I'm in there, get it done, and I'm out.
You lifting weights, or doing a cardio? What do you,
Yeah,
at your age, what's your approach now? I know ages are different, you know?
Two things. I go to the gym for weights. I go to the gym for the pool. I go to the pool if I'm not playing soccer. So I'm playing soccer at least three times a week. So that's my cardio.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm injured, that's not good. So I can't play soccer. And now I have to swim. And whenever you tell Mike you have to do something, I'm like the dog where you pull the leash. I want to go the other way, man. And I'm just like, I don't know how I can get rid of that. Bob, help me.
Well, I mean, but playing on a soccer team, you get moments of connection and teamwork, but actually physical activity with a bunch of guys. Or is it a co-ed team? I don't know, but I mean that must be very not only physically but mentally fulfilling as well.
Oh, it feeds me because I run 2 pickup games groups, and one of them's been going on since I've been in California 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Still getting after soccer. That's awesome.
Yeah, just go after it. Yeah, I don't think you realize this, but I'm 61, bro.
Yeah.
You said I was in my 50s. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I said through 60s. You qualify as a half-timer.
But yeah, so and then remember, reasons and excuses, right? So if I get up in the morning and I'm just not feeling it, man, my motivation is like pegged to the red. Like it's on empty. But my drive doesn't change.
Right.
So is the reason I'm not wanting to go to the gym, is it a reason or an excuse? I have to ask myself that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think that's the only time that I would give myself permission to beat myself up, call myself a wimp. Don't be a baby. Get off your ass and go. But I've already wasted 15 minutes trying to decide, so now I'm going to be late. So what? And
yeah, don't
if
delay.
You're 15 minutes late to work, do you not go to work?
Yeah.
No, you still go. So I just go and I work harder because I only got 35 minutes instead of 45 minutes.
Time is short. Man, I am just, I'm so impressed with your journey as an observer, Mike, and being part of your life at the time we're able to spend together in our groups. And, this is about, the show, as you know, is about inspiring other people that have similar stories or similar journeys that, that when you get into your 40s, you don't think like you're at halftime, but you really are. You're starting to wrap up. You're making, your 40s are when you're making the most money you're ever going to make, generally, unless you're an entrepreneur business, and there's always the outlier and the exceptions, but generally in your late 40s, you're making the most money you're ever going to make, and you already have kids in the oven, or they're baking, or they're growing them up, and all the stresses that go into that, and you get into your 50s, you look back and you go, oh crap, I'm 50, and then you start looking at the retirement accounts if you haven't before. There are always outliers of people that are, way ahead and taking the time to do that. But majority of people, this is kind of like a cycle, a season of life element. And again, men in our seasons, if you will, the 50s and the 60s, it's like, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. I find myself getting really kind of bummed and angry with others that maybe in our generations that they just have collapsed. Everybody has a different situation, right? That provides the background. So this is not a judgment, but I find myself getting angry and like, not today for me. I'm not done yet. And you are definitely not done yet. Get on the football field Your 60s. Yeah, what's the age group on your team?
And you're not going to believe it.
I would believe
on
it.
The pickup games, which, believe it or not, are pretty competitive.
Yeah.
It was actually last Tuesday, we played against a group that were 14 and 16. 4-2, baby. We won.
Nice. What position you play? What position you play?
And I went up and scored a goal.
What do you play? Oh, okay. So what do you play? Mid or forward? Oh, I'm sorry.
I used to play. I play sweeper.
Are you playing sweeper? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like that. Or any of the defenses. I like center back. But it's a lot of fun. It's not there. No slide tackling and none of that.
That's fair. Yeah, you get injured.
Macho stuff that we used to do as kids. We try not to do any of that stuff.
Yeah. If you're going to give anybody advice on making a change, wanting to get in some type of group event, group sport again, whether it's softball or soccer or get into some other activity, what would you say probably, or maybe 2 or 3 considerations, regardless of what it is, before you jump into it?
Well, make sure that you're in some sort of physical shape, right? You got to get on the treadmill, because when you get older, muscle pulls and we don't stretch, right? So if you could create a stretch routine for yourself, I should have a mirror in front of me telling myself, because I'm not the best at stretching, and I pay for it, right? But if you could stretch, if you could build the muscles that you're going to need for what you want to do,
right?
I love this craze on pickleball.
Pickleball,
I think it's fantastic. I have not played, thought about it, but I've got other things going on. But it's a fun group of people. There's plenty to make fun of too, right? So you can't hold yourself to such a high standard that you're the best or this is the best sport. Have fun with it, right? Do what you do. Pick something that maybe you used to like to do or you have an interest in. That's just going to make following that decision to do something healthy easier, right? If you don't like to walk but you have a dog, take the dog, right?
Right.
I don't like to run, but put a ball in front of me, I'm after it. I'm all in.
Adapt,
right?
Yeah. Good point.
So find something you like to do. If you like the solitude of swimming laps, do that. There's so much you can do. Even hiking, right? Walking.
Yeah.
So I have a friend the pounds are dropping off because he's walking twice a day for 45 minutes. He started at 20 minutes a day. Now twice a day he walks for 45 minutes. And he's just melting away. He's feeling better. First couple weeks, first month, sucked. I would text him, how you doing? Right, everything hurts, or whatever, right? But it really is no pain, no gain.
Yeah. Well, I think that's good advice. Do something that you like or a muse that you thought would be interested, but making sure you avoid injury is really important. I've got this little shoulder thing going on right now, so I'm only lifting in the gym half as much. They call it deloading. So you remove 30 to 40% of your normal weight. So you just, you go through your workout for a week or two. So you're still maintaining, your range of motion, but it's quite challenging. I love that. And weightlifting too I find so much solace in that. And just me, headphones on and just pushing heavy stuff. A lot of fun. Yeah.
I listen to podcasts.
You're a podcast guy? Who are your top 2 podcasts right now?
Jocko.
You like Jocko? Yeah.
Goggins.
Oh,
Andy. I always say his name.
Frisella?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did 75 hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did that a few years ago. Probably about 5 years ago I did it.
Hard.
That's where the one decision attitude came.
Yeah.
Once I make the decision,
yeah,
it's over. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would just encourage people. The Japanese have a saying: the best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago. The second best time is today. So, like, we're talking now. If you're hearing this, schedule it. I'm going to go to the gym tonight at 6, or I'm going to go walk tonight. And here, around here, you probably want to wait till about 8 or 9 because it's 99 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, and then stop talking about it in your head. You've already made the decision, and just go do it, and then do the same thing the next day. The other thing I really encourage people to do is get up early. If your alarm goes off at 7:30, make it 6:30. See how that changes. And during that extra hour, read or journal or do something for yourself. Self-help books are great. Do something in that hour that feeds you.
Right.
Even if it's just research car parts, right? You know what I mean? But it's your time. Nobody else is up. And if 6:30 doesn't work because people are up, then maybe make it 5:30. I do 4:30. I used to do 4:15 because Jocko did 4:30, and I figured that was the only thing I could beat him at. So at 4:15, I said, no, that was silly.
Yeah.
So 4:30, I'm up.
Time is your most valuable resource, and it runs scarce, and the time is short when you get to halftime. So don't waste it, I think, is a big message here in the process.
Yeah, man.
Mike Reynolds, so good to see you again virtually here. And so you got to get up here and hike up in these big old Idaho mountains.
You got to take me hunting, man. I'm not cleaning whatever we kill, just so you know.
That's part of it, buddy.
I'll be gagging.
You can prepare the barbecue.
But I'll shoot something.
We'll go fishing. Go fishing. Archery. Archery's my jam right now. And then we've got a lot of fly fishing rivers, a little easier, but a lot of rivers you can hike back to, so it's a lot of fun, way back in the mountains. But good stuff, and we'll keep again. Everybody, thanks again for joining us today, and just remember, fear is a lie and darkness distorts. You're not done yet. Get after it today. Thanks again.